When we talk about how men fall in love, most people immediately jump to physical attraction. They assume it's about the way a woman looks, the smile, the eyes, the presence, and yes, attraction is what gets a man's attention, but it's not what earns his commitment. The very first brick in the foundation of love for a man isn't romance, it's respect. Without respect, nothing else matters. You can have chemistry, laughter, late-night conversations, but if a man doesn't feel respected for who he is, that connection won't go any further. Here's the thing, men don't say this out loud. They don't sit around with their friends talking about how badly they want respect, but it's the silent need that drives them. It's what makes them lean in, what makes them open up, and what makes them start picturing a future. Respect is the lens through which they decide if this relationship is safe to invest in. Because for a man, being respected goes deeper than being admired. It's about being accepted for his identity, his choices, and the effort he brings to the table. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man who works hard at his job, who pours himself into his career or business. He comes home, and the one thing he wants more than anything is to know that his effort means something to the person he loves. Not that he's perfect, not that he has it all figured out, but that what he's building matters in her eyes. If the woman beside him only criticizes, only points out where he falls short, or dismisses his sacrifices, something inside him starts to close off. But if she shows gratitude, even for the small things, like fixing something around the house, keeping his word, or simply showing up, that's when his heart starts to move in her direction. Respect isn't about blind agreement or pretending he never makes mistakes. It's about how you communicate when those mistakes happen. Do you tear him down, or do you challenge him in a way that still honors his dignity? That's the difference. Respect doesn't mean silence. It means speaking truth with grace. It's saying, I see who you are, and I believe in the man you're becoming, even when we disagree. That one mindset can shift the entire dynamic of love. And here's where people miss it. Men fall in love with the feeling of being respected, just as much as women fall in love with the feeling of being cherished. That's the parallel. What flowers are to romance for women, respect is to love for men. It's not about stroking an ego. It's about creating an environment where he feels valued for the things he does, and, more importantly, for the person he is. So many relationships break down because respect gets chipped away little by little. Sarcasm, comparison, dismissal, these things might seem small, but over time they can drain the very heart out of a man. On the flip side, encouragement, acknowledgement, and appreciation have the power to build a man up in ways that make him want to give more, to love more, to commit deeper. It's like fueling his emotional engine. When a man feels respected, he naturally wants to pour back into the relationship. At the end of the day, respect is not a performance. It's a posture. It's the way you carry yourself with him. And when a man feels that kind of respect, something inside him shifts. He doesn't just enjoy being around you. He starts to need your presence because it feels like home. That is the first step of how a man truly falls in love. A lot of people assume men fall in love because of looks, charm, or physical attraction. And yes, those things spark interest, but they don't sustain love. What really pulls a man in, what makes him drop his guard and open his heart, is emotional safety. That's the moment when he feels he can truly be himself without the fear of being judged, mocked, or dismissed. Attraction may light the match, but emotional safety is the oxygen that keeps the fire alive. Think about it. Most men are raised with this unspoken rule. Don't show too much emotion, don't cry, don't admit fear, don't be vulnerable. The world tells them to be strong, to carry burdens silently, to figure things out on their own. So when a man meets someone who allows him to set that heavy armor down, even just for a moment, it feels like freedom. That's when love starts to take root, not when everything is perfect on the outside, but when he realizes he can be imperfect on the inside and still be accepted. Picture this. A man walks into a room carrying all the stress of his day. Maybe he had a rough meeting. Maybe he feels like he failed at something. Maybe he's wrestling with doubts he doesn't want anyone to see. If the person he loves greets him with judgment or impatience, he's going to put his mask back on. But if she gives him space, listens without rushing to fix, and simply makes him feel heard, his guard begins to fall. That's emotional safety. It's the sense that he doesn't have to earn love by being flawless. He already has it by being himself. This doesn't mean men are fragile or incapable of handling life on their own. It means that in love, they crave what they can't get from the outside world. Out there, they're expected to perform, but in a relationship, what they long for is to rest. Emotional safety becomes the place where he can recharge. And when he finds that, he doesn't just like it, he becomes devoted to it. He ties his sense of peace and belonging to the person who provides it. The truth is, most men don't even know how badly they need this until they experience it. They might think they're fine keeping everything bottled up, living behind walls. But the first time someone gives them a safe place to release, it feels like a relief they never knew they were searching for. And once a man feels that kind of safety, he'll start sharing more. His hopes, his fears, his failures, his dreams. Every time he does, he's handing over another piece of his heart. But here's the delicate part: emotional safety can't be faked. It's not about pretending to care or giving half-listened responses. Men notice when it's real. They notice when you're genuinely present, when you're not waiting for your turn to talk, when you're not using their vulnerability against them later. That authenticity is what seals the bond. If he feels he can bring his whole self to the relationship, strengths and weaknesses alike, and still be loved, he'll fall in love deeper than he ever thought possible. So, while attraction may catch a man's eye, it's emotional safety that captures his soul. And once he finds it, he doesn't just want to be around you. He wants to build with you because he knows with certainty that his heart is safe in your hands. One of the deepest truths about how men fall in love is this: admiration is fuel. A man doesn't just fall in love with how you look at him, he falls in love with how you see him. When he feels admired, not for being perfect, not for having it all figured out, but for the effort he gives and the character he shows, that's when something inside him starts to shift. Admiration, in many ways, is the oxygen that keeps his emotional connection alive. Think about it for a moment. Men spend their lives working to prove themselves in different arenas. At work, they're measured by performance. Among friends, they're measured by strength or status. In the world, they're measured by what they can achieve. But when a man walks into a relationship, he doesn't want to be measured. He wants to be noticed. He wants the woman he cares about to see past the surface and recognize the heart behind his actions. That's why admiration carries so much weight. It's not about boosting his ego, it's about affirming his worth. Now, let's be clear, admiration doesn't mean empty flattery. Men can see right through that. What speaks volumes is genuine recognition. When you point out his effort, when you notice the little things he does that no one else acknowledges, that's what sticks. It can be something as simple as, "I really appreciate how hard you work for us," or "I love the way you handled that situation." Those words don't just land in his ears, they plant roots in his heart. Here's why that matters so much. Men often tie their identity to what they provide or how they show up. So when someone they love admires them, it validates their sense of purpose. It tells them, "I see you, I value you, I'm proud of you." And in return, that admiration doesn't just make him feel good, it makes him want to rise even higher. He'll push himself harder, love deeper, and stay committed because he feels like the best version of himself when he's with you. But there's another layer here. Admiration isn't just about recognizing success. It's also about recognizing potential. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is admire the qualities in him that he doesn't even fully believe in yet. Maybe it's his kindness, his determination, his vision for the future. When you speak life into those areas, you're not just admiring who he is, you're admiring who he's becoming. And that's powerful because it makes him feel like you're not just with him for today. You believe in his tomorrow. And let's be honest, there's a flip side. When admiration is missing, when a man feels constantly criticized, compared, or overlooked, love begins to wither. He may stay physically present, but emotionally, he'll start to withdraw. That's because without admiration, he feels invisible. And when a man feels invisible in a relationship, he stops investing his whole heart. But when admiration is alive, it works like gravity. It keeps him drawn toward you. It makes him want to share more, to give more, to love more, because he knows that the person who matters most sees him in a way no one else does. That's when he starts to feel not just cared for, but cherished. And that's where real love takes root. So while respect opens the door and emotional safety makes him feel at home, admiration is what inspires him to stay and give his very best. We often think men fall in love because of shared experiences, mutual hobbies, or fun adventures. And yes, those things help create connection, but they're not the glue that holds love together. A man doesn't fall in love simply because you like the same music, eat at the same restaurants, or enjoy the same weekend activities. Those are surface-level connections. What truly anchors his heart is when values align, when he sees that the deeper parts of who he is line up with who you are. Here's the difference. Shared interests give you moments. Shared values give you meaning. You can have fun with almost anyone for a short while, but love isn't about a short while. It's about building a future. And when a man starts realizing that your priorities, your beliefs, your way of navigating life reflects his, that's when he begins to see you as more than a partner for now. That's when he starts to see you as someone he can build with for life. Let's put it in perspective. Imagine a man who values loyalty above all else. He believes that when he gives his word, he should keep it. Now, he may meet someone who shares his love of travel, laughter, or movies, but if she doesn't share that core value of loyalty, the connection won't last, because at some point, what he treasures most won't be honored, and that disconnect will create distance. On the other hand, if he sees loyalty in you, if he sees that your actions back your promises, that you stand by the people you love, that's when his heart takes notice in a different way. That's when he thinks, this woman gets it. She lives what I live for. And it's not just loyalty. Men are drawn to women who share the values they hold at their core: integrity, kindness, ambition, faith, family, honesty. When those align, love becomes more than a feeling. It becomes a partnership. Because values shape decisions, and decisions shape the life you build together. If your values clash, the relationship becomes a constant tug-of war. But when your values match, the relationship feels like rowing in the same direction. There's a natural rhythm, a sense of harmony, even when life gets tough. Here's the powerful part. When a man recognizes his values reflected in you, he feels understood without having to explain himself. It's like you speak the same unspoken language. That sense of alignment takes away the fear of being misunderstood or judged. And in that kind of space, he doesn't just admire you. He trusts you, and trust is the soil where love grows deepest. It's easy to get caught up in chemistry and attraction, and those things do matter. But attraction without aligned values is like building a house on sand. It feels exciting at first, but it won't stand when the storms come. What makes a man stay, what makes him commit, is the certainty that the person beside him shares his foundation, that she believes in the same core truths he does, that she's walking toward the same kind of future. Because at the end of the day, A man doesn't fall in love with how much fun you can have in the moment. He falls in love with the idea of building a life together. And if the values are there, that vision of the future becomes crystal clear. When it comes to how men fall in love, one truth stands out. Words might catch his attention, but patterns are what win his trust. Men don't fall in love with promises. They fall in love with consistency. A man wants to know that what you say and what you do match up, not just once, not just when it's convenient, but over time. Consistency is what convinces him that your love is safe to lean on. Think about it. Anyone can say the right thing in the moment. Anyone can make big promises when emotions are high, but what a man is really watching is whether those promises translate into action. Do your words line up with your behavior? Do you show up when you say you will? Do you treat him with the same care on an ordinary Tuesday as you do when everything feels exciting and new? Those small, repeated actions are what convince him that love is real, not just a passing feeling. And it works both ways. Men know their actions are being measured the same way. That's why when a man is serious about love, he starts showing consistency too. He doesn't just say, "I care about you." He backs it up by being reliable, by making an effort, by showing you through repeated patterns that he means what he says. And when he feels that same consistency coming from you, something inside him begins to relax. His guard comes down. He feels safe enough to invest more of himself because he knows the ground he's standing on is steady. Here's what's powerful about consistency. It builds trust in ways that nothing else can. Trust isn't built by grand gestures. It's built by the little things repeated again and again, answering the call when he reaches out, following through on your word, listening when he speaks. These small things don't always feel dramatic, but they add up to a sense of security that makes a man think, "I can depend on her. She's not going to disappear on me. She's steady." That steadiness is what makes him open his heart. On the other hand, inconsistency chips away at love. When words and actions don't match, a man starts to question what's real. If he doesn't know whether today's effort will look like tomorrow's, he hesitates to trust fully. Love can't grow in uncertainty, but when there's consistency, he doesn't have to question. He doesn't have to wonder where he stands. He can simply give his heart because he knows it's safe in your hands. And this is important. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never have a bad day or that you never fall short. It means that your patterns over time show him that your heart is in the right place. That you're committed, that you're dependable, that your love isn't just a mood. It's a choice you keep showing up for. That's what men notice. That's what makes them fall in love. Because at the end of the day, a man isn't looking for someone who shines in moments. He's looking for someone who's steady over seasons. And when he finds that consistency, he doesn't just enjoy the relationship. He trusts it enough to give everything he has. There comes a moment in every man's journey of love where something shifts. It's the point where he moves past attraction, past respect, past consistency, and he finally begins to hand over his heart. That moment happens when he feels safe enough to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the bridge between liking someone and truly loving them. Until a man feels like he can reveal the parts of himself that are unpolished, uncertain, even a little broken, he'll keep love at a distance. But when he finds someone who holds that vulnerability with care instead of criticism, that's when his heart opens wide. For most men, vulnerability doesn't come naturally. They've been taught from a young age to be strong, to hide weaknesses, to solve problems without asking for help. Many of them carry silent battles that no one ever sees. So when he chooses to share his fears, his insecurities, or even his wildest dreams with you, it's not casual. It's sacred. It means he's letting you into the most protected parts of himself. And if those moments are met with patience and compassion, That's when love deepens beyond surface level attraction. Think about the last time someone really trusted you with something raw. Maybe it was a confession of doubt, a story from their past, or an insecurity they'd never spoken out loud before. Didn't that trust pull you closer to them? It's the same for men. Vulnerability, when it's safe, creates intimacy that no amount of fun dates or shared hobbies could ever replace. It's the difference between being someone he enjoys spending time with and being someone he can't imagine life without. But here's the catch. Vulnerability can't be forced. You can't demand it or rush it out of a man. You create it by showing up with consistency, by listening without judgment, by responding with grace instead of sarcasm. You create it by proving over time that you can be trusted with his truth. And when that happens, you'll notice the walls come down little by little. At first, it might be small things, like admitting he had a tough day or opening up about a minor fear. But then, if he feels safe, it becomes bigger. His worries about the future, his regrets, his hopes. Each moment of vulnerability is like him handing you a key to another room in his heart. What's powerful is that vulnerability is a two-way street. When you share your own fears, insecurities, and dreams, you're showing him it's okay to do the same. That mutual exchange builds a bond that's hard to break, because love isn't built on pretending to have it all together. It's built on sharing the journey of becoming together. And when a man experiences that kind of connection, it doesn't just make him feel love. It makes him feel known. And that's the truth. Men don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with authenticity. They fall in love when they can bring their real selves to the table and still feel chosen. Vulnerability is the final step that transforms affection into devotion. Because at the end of the day, a man doesn't give his heart to the one who only sees his strengths. He gives it to the one who can see his weaknesses too, and still stay.